Hola,
Hola.
¿cómo estás?
Pues,
¿Mm?
qué linda.
Ay, gracias. Tú qué linda.
Estoy en pijama.
Preciosa. How are you doing?
I'm good, you?
I'm
Looks so
good. Thank you
good.
so much for agreeing to do this. I'm so happy people are going to get to know you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this. Thanks for
You know what I was thinking? I should share the video of you and I dancing.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Guys, this is my friend Christina. We met in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And how long ago did we meet? Like 6 years now.
Has it been 6 years then?
I
Yeah.
think we met in 2012 because that was my
Yeah,
first trip.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Just
And we got
long
introduced
ago.
by an Argentine, a friend of an Argentine friend.
Yes,
And
that's good.
people were like, Danny, this girl's Canadian. And so I
Yeah.
invited you for lunch. I was like, you need to teach me the ropes here.
Yes, there were a lot of Canadians, so it was nice to get some.
Absolutely. The reason I wanted to interview Christina because Christina is a friend who didn't know, like, Spanish is not your native language. You're from Montreal. French was your native language, and
Exactly.
English. And then
Exactly.
you sought out Spanish, did a bunch of traveling, and now it's completely changed your life. So I would love
Yes.
to ask you some questions about it. What first
Sure.
attracted you to Spanish? Why
Sorry?
did you learn it? Why did you learn Spanish? Like, what first made you want to do it?
It's actually funny. It was kind of like by accident because when I
Oh,
went
yeah.
to university, my university had a program where you can actually do your classes in French, English, and Spanish.
Oh,
And so
nice.
I thought, it'd be a great opportunity. So over one summer, I did like this intensive class to be able to learn Spanish because I've never learned it before. It was so intense. I started dreaming in Spanish. You can imagine like how
Wow.
intense it was. And yeah, so I did that, and I was admitted to the my program, it was a business program. And so I started doing my classes in Spanish.
Oh,
And
wow.
as part of the program too, I had to leave and do an exchange program abroad in a speaking Spanish, a Spanish speaking country.
Yeah.
And so yes, I went to Mexico and I was there for 6 months.
I
And
didn't
yeah,
know that's what I was just thinking. I can't believe I'm finding this out when I'm interviewing you. Like, how did I not know this? This is
I know, I
this
didn't
should be
tell
like
you.
a regular practice between friends. Interview
I know,
time.
right?
I knew you were in Mexico, but I didn't know that was why.
Yeah, exactly. It was because of the class. So yeah, so I went to Mexico. And it was really interesting because I learned the Spanish from Spain, but they spoke a totally different Spanish. So I kind of relearned it.
Wow,
So I
yeah.
had a Mexican accent at that time. And then, yeah, I went back to Canada and I really wanted to keep up with my Spanish. And then that's why I ended up in Argentina.
Mm. So where
So
in Mexico were you?
it's called a little town called Querétaro. It's not really known, but it's like a little colonial city, 2 hours north of like Mexico City. It's really
Nice.
nice.
Do you remember a
Yeah.
bunch of Mexican slang?
Yes, I don't know if I can say them because they're not like, like no mames,
Right.
this, chill away, like these things. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Monday.
Did you feel culture shock when you got there? Like, what did you feel when you first got to Mexico?
Yeah, yeah, it was a big culture shock because, over there everybody's so friendly, right? So I know you go somewhere and they're, after talking to somebody 15 minutes, they're like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? You should come to my grandma's house and she'll cook for you,
Wow, yeah.
And they're really friendly, they're very welcoming. Yeah, and I was never alone. Whereas here, sometimes to get to know people, they're kind of cold. But
Yeah.
over there, it's like they made you feel at home, from the get go. So I love that. So
Nice.
it was like a positive culture shock. It wasn't.
For sure. Actually, I had that as well. Like, absolutely. It's funny because my friend group was very Latin in university, and I always say like hanging out with Latin people made me a lot nicer
Yeah,
because they're just super open to meeting new people and making new friends, right? And it's like a bit of a different model than ours, like here in North America.
exactly. And there's also this thing about Mexico. Like everybody said, it was super dangerous, and you
Mm,
have to be careful. But honestly, I never felt really unsafe, which was really nice. It's because of where I was at, right? It
yeah,
was very safe. But
yeah.
yeah, at first I was like, I'm not going. I don't want to know. I wasn't interested, but
Yeah.
going there was really amazing, and I really don't regret it. It was a great
That's
experience.
awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Did you have road bumps when you were learning Spanish? Like, did you have moments where you felt like stuck or like it wasn't flowing or you felt like you were never going to achieve it? Because you speak really, like, you speak at a fluent level. Like, did you have moments when you were learning when you were like, oh my God, this is so hard?
I think that yes, when I first started, it's kind of hard because yeah, you're having to learn all these new rules and like all these things you've never heard. before, it's very different. I think the thing that helped is that I speak French. So speaking French, there was a lot of things that were similar, so that really helped me.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the difficulties is that when you go from one country to another, it's very different. So switching from that, Spanish from Spain to Spanish from Mexico is totally different. And sometimes you say something and people would understand something else.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating, but these are things that it's kind of funny at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and
it makes it colorful for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
Did you learn like with vosotros and you had to learn vosotros in class?
Exactly. So I say
Wow.
we use that, and like I don't know, in Mexico you say caro, but in Spain they say coches. All these little things you have to learn, but
Yeah.
it was totally fine. Yeah,
What
I think.
advice would you, sorry.
Oh yes, in terms of advice, I think that the best way, because when I was in Canada, I did learn Spanish and I had classes, but I wasn't speaking on a regular basis, except for,
Mm-hmm.
well, yes, in class, but it's not like I was doing it 24/7. So when I got to Mexico, when people, it's their native language, it was totally different, and I couldn't understand them, right? So I think the best thing to do to learn the language is really, if you're able to go somewhere for maybe a month, 2 months, to really get there and be surrounded by the language to be able to really learn it, because that's the only way you'll be able to grasp it and really, speak like as close to a native as you can, right? So I
Right.
would really recommend that.
And having had that experience of being immersed in a Spanish speaking country, what are some ways that people who are, let's say they're working and they can't get to traveling or whatever, they really want to kind of make it as part of as much of their life as possible while they're in their place? What would you suggest that they do?
Um, I think in Toronto, there's so many things you can do, right? I know that there's a Spanish center, so the Spanish centers offers a lot of activities. If you like to dance, they have dance classes. I mean, Danny, we love to salsa, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of events, clubs that you can go to where you can practice your salsa, but at the same time, most people are there, Spanish or
Right.
Latin, so you
Yeah.
can practice with them.
Yeah.
There's also, let's say, I'm sure like if you go like a language exchange, so a lot of people like to practice, so you can practice with them.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Watch shows. I mean, Netflix is so easy now, right? So you watch a show in Spanish and you can
Yeah.
have the subtitles, so that's another good way. La Casa de Papel, it's very famous.
I can't watch it. Even just hearing the soundtrack makes me want to vomit. It's so
Yeah,
violent, but everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. Except,
yeah, it's a great show. It's fun. Everybody loves it, and you can
yeah,
just watch it with the subtitles, and it gives you
yeah,
a good idea.
yeah, yeah. Those were the major things for me. It was watching movies and connecting with Latin people in my city.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
the best way.
yeah. Because especially because once you make friends, they're like, "Hey, let me show you this. Let me show you that." And so I found that when I actually went to Latin America, I knew stuff around me because friends of mine had been like, "Hey, Danny, let me teach you this. Let me show you that. We do things like this." Did you have a
Exactly.
moment when you were like, oh my God, wow, I'm actually speaking Spanish? Where you were like, I can't believe this is coming, like, this is me now?
Yeah, I think one of the when I realized I was really good is I could watch a movie without having subtitles,
Yeah.
or I went to a comedy show and actually could understand the jokes
Yeah.
without having to ask somebody, right? So I was like, yes, I finally made it. Like I
That's
totally understand
awesome.
Spanish. So yeah, that was the time where I realized that I was really understanding and that my level was, I had a really good level. So I was
Yeah.
glad. Yeah.
How do you feel when you speak Spanish? Do you feel like it reveals another piece of who you are?
Yes, it's kind of funny. I don't know, there's some things, I could be speaking English, but some things just come up in Spanish when I'm upset and I want to, something,
Yeah.
it's a Spanish word that comes up, or
Yes.
kind of funny, like it became part of me that it just automatically, I switch to Spanish, when I want to say something, well,
Yeah.
not so polite, right? It just comes
Yeah.
out in Spanish. I don't know, it feels like some emotions are easier said in Spanish than I guess in French or in English. So it's kind of funny.
It's funny how it becomes part of you. Like you start feeling like it's yours.
Exactly, yeah.
It's been, I guess, 8 years that I've spoke Spanish, and it's so funny because it's almost like I don't remember I don't remember what I was before because it became part of who, like a big part of who I am.
It's true. Yeah, and like for example, my phone's in Spanish. I try to watch, whenever there's something that's in Spanish on TV, I try to watch it in Spanish.
Yeah.
I love reggaeton, so I'm always listening to
Yeah, girl.
reggaeton. Yeah.
What are you listening to right now?
Right now, what do I like? Maluma a lot.
Mhm.
Luna, he's really good.
Mhm. Oh, I love
Things like
him.
that. Yeah. So those are the singers I'm listening to. It's kind of hard because I don't I go out sometimes
Yeah.
to clubs like that, but not all the time. But thanks to Spotify, there's like a
Yes. It's amazing.
Latin, I think,
I'm just discovering it.
playlist. Exactly. So I just listen to that. But yeah,
Yeah.
whatever I can to be in touch with the Spanish community. And I have my friend Carlos, he's from Argentina.
Yeah.
We hang out from time to time. So he's
You
nice.
have a ton of close friends. That was what I was going to ask you about. You have a ton of close relationships. And I know you have a lot of very close girlfriends that love you a lot. By the way, Christina has a fan club, everybody. And I'm like,
Oh, no, come
I'm
on.
buying the first seat in the fan club, okay? But I know that there's people that are competing with me.
No, 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 no.
I know that there's people competing. I even know them by name because of Facebook, okay? But you have really close friendships with people in Spanish-speaking countries, and these were like your best friends, and these people don't speak English, right?
Exactly, yes. So I have a friend, for example, yes, she's in Argentina and she doesn't speak English at all. So, to be able to communicate with her, we do it in Spanish and those are the things I do. And the good thing too, and at my work as well, we have a lot of people who come from Latin America.
Yeah.
And as part of my job, I have to help people when they move to Canada to kind of, get settled in and everything like that. So when they know that I speak Spanish, they feel more comfortable. They have somebody they can speak to in their own language.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel more comfortable. And for me, I get to practice. So it's a good.
Yeah. And you've
Yeah.
met up with those friends, haven't you? Like in Mexico, New York.
Yes. So I have friends in Mexico and New York and Argentina, Colombia. Yeah, so about a lot of places.
That's awesome. Yeah, I seem to remember, like, didn't you meet up with your girlfriend from Argentina in Mexico? I was so jealous when I saw those pictures.
Yeah. Well, what happened is that a friend of mine, well, it was kind of funny. When I was living in Argentina, a friend of mine, she was from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And, she ended up leaving the company and met her husband. He was from like Germany. And then they got transferred for his work in Mexico.
Mm.
So they decided to get married in Mexico. So
Oh,
all of us,
wow.
we met her in Argentina. A
Yeah.
bunch of us, went to Mexico to celebrate her wedding, which was always amazing, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
she was from from Brazil. So you had people from Brazil, people from Germany. So people from Germany came to
Like, what a
Argentina.
wedding.
Yeah, and like part of the wedding, you had like mariachis, then you had, I don't know, Brazilian dancing, then you had tango. So it was kind of a big mix, but
That's unreal.
yeah.
I want to hear your best and worst travel stories.
Best
I know you
stories.
got lots,
Oh my
but
gosh.
something that stands out in your head, but like best where you're like, oh my God, king of the world, and worst where you're like, wow, like, I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. It's funny. I think I met you in one of my worst moments. Actually, that's part of why I reached out.
Oh,
I was having such a hard time. I was like, I need friends.
oh
No,
yeah, I
don't give me your worst.
remember.
Give me your best. Give me your best, or like something that comes to mind that you were like, wow, that was amazing.
I think one of my best is when with my friend, her name is Ines. So we
Yeah.
went to Brazil, and I've always wanted to go to Brazil, and it was gonna be, well, it was my first time, and you should have seen my smile. I was like smiling for like during the
Oh,
whole trip. We didn't really plan anything. We just knew that we were going to be staying in two cities. But during that trip, we met amazing people. I remember I was trying to learn Portuguese, but when I ended up going there, it was mostly Argentines anyway. So I was
yeah.
like Spanish the whole time. But
Yeah.
yeah, just the energy of the people, and it was just nothing was planned. It was totally a random trip, and we kind of went with the flow. And I think that was like one of the best. Best ways to go travel. I mean, it's great to get everything, organized and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for the purpose of this trip where we're just going to the beach and everything like that, it was just amazing to just go with the flow and
And
go
it's
back.
funny how sometimes this happened to me too. Like you're in a country where the language is not Spanish, but knowing Spanish changes the way that you're like. For me, it was in Israel. I couldn't believe, but I was in Israel for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I
Yeah,
spoke Spanish every single day from people from Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, all over the place. And it was crazy how speaking Spanish in a country that their language is not Spanish changed the trip for me. And it sounds like when you were in Brazil, it was the same kind of thing. So you were connecting with
yeah,
Argentines, and you could understand some Portuguese because you had the Spanish.
exactly.
It
And
totally changes how you travel.
sorry.
It doesn't it like completely change how you travel, like what a trip
Yeah,
is like, what you can take from it.
exactly. It was really amazing because we met other Argentines that were there, which was great. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, you get to connect with people on a different level. So
yeah, yeah.